Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Being Human Now show. I'm your host, Jennifer Locksmith, and today we have returning Kelly Rainbow Butterfly, and for the first time, we have Christian Schena. Welcome, you guys. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yes. So I'm gonna read the bio real quick before we get started. Kelly Rainbow Butterfly and Christian Schena are the founders of the Children of Earth Coalition and are the coordinators and hosts of Sacred Spirit gatherings, energy healers and accelerators, artists, and ancient record keepers. Kelly Butterfly is an author and editor of the Sasquatch Message to Humanity and Other Channeled Messages, energy healer, multidimensional translator, clairvoyant, medium, and artist, designing unique Oregon energy devices and jewelry. She is also a graphic artist and freelance marketing agent. Kelly is the founder of the Sasquatch Family Reunion Gatherings and Retreats and helps to coordinate many other events and gatherings. Christian Schena is an interdimensional spiritual traveler, energetic and parasitic extractor, multicultural and historical librarian, stone speaker, and artist of paint and graphic designs. He also manages Zael Productions, which remasters, reformats, and distributes vintage, communal, and new music and media. Christian is a bodhisattva with over 35 years of Buddhist teachings and immersion. For 30 years, he has been a computer wizard that has been serving his community as a tech master for the last 18 years. The Children of the Earth Coalition, COEC, is an alliance of worldwide community members committed to the regeneration of Earth and all living beings. The COEC's goal is to develop spirit and nature-based educational programs, events, and holistic wellness centers. Some of COEC's projects include permaculture, earth tending and healing, ancestral skills and wisdom, self-empowerment and self-realization practices, and tenders of the highest good manifestation circles and spiritual healing gatherings, retreats, and campouts. You guys, this is so awesome. Thank you so much for making this world a better place. You guys are like, you're doing it. You're actually doing it, and it's awesome, and we appreciate you. We need what you guys are doing so badly, and I hope it catches on everywhere because it's awesome.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
And that is our intention as well.
Yes,
So,
it's awesome. It's
yeah.
awesome. Just which by the way, oh, I have to tell you, Christian, awesome that you're remastering and reformatting vintage music and all this awesomeness and media. We need more of that. So thank you. Keep doing that.
Yeah, thank you. In the past 6 years, and I'm self-taught, it was a passion and it just kept coming together. But we've done over 4,100 albums and singles,
Gosh, that's
vinyl,
awesome.
reel to reel, cassette, CD, you name it. And I
Awesome.
go all the way back. I've taken my personal likes and dislikes out of the picture. And if it comes my way, I culturally preserve it without.
Awesome.
So,
That's
and what's beautiful about that is you get to learn so much about music, so much about culture. It's a time warp. You feel like you're time traveling. You feel like you get
yes.
to know the artist um as you remaster their music. And we
Yeah.
a lot of times we play it against YouTube and we're just blown away by the difference
Oh, I'm sure
of
there
these
is.
classic sounds. And it feels like cultural preservation.
It
And we
is.
actually have other, it is, it is. And I even have a friend in Arkansas who has a large vintage record collection himself, and he's been taking thumb drives, recording it in wave format, and then shipping them to me like in like
Oh my
120 albums at
gosh.
a time.
That is
And I've just been going
awesome.
through it a little bit. And yeah, we've just been cleaning everything up and just restoring.
That's great. And I feel
So
like the
it's part of
younger,
the library.
yes,
Yeah,
that's all part of it. You're so right. And I feel like the younger generations are thirsting for that too. That they
they
they're
are.
they're wanting to go back to that.
Yes,
Those,
yes, and
yeah.
we play for a lot of people, and people are just very surprised at how it sounds because we're used to it sounding very differently today than
Oh
what it
yeah.
sounded back then. It was almost like a jarring with the brain, like a Rubik's Cube kind of when we first put on a mono Beatles from 1963.
Oh my God.
It just had a totally different sound than what you hear on YouTube today, and
Yeah.
media.
That-
So it was just really refreshing because I grew up with vinyl. I grew up with music, and I'm 52 now, and I've seen all of these different, society in the past 40, 50 years shift.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to bring back and do something now today that I only dreamed of when I was 12 and 13, recording off the radio
Yep.
and stuff. And,
Yeah. You're doing it.
uh,
It's all coming together.
yes, exactly. Divinely,
Yes.
divinely. And that's the thing. It's all being handled divinely. None of this was premeditated. It just started happening. And as it started happening, people would start bringing me their collections of 500 albums plus and be like, you can have them, just let me have my music again. So the 6 to 8
Yeah.
months later, I got a thumb drive and there's like 300 to 500 albums on there for them.
Oh
And
my
just bringing their whole
gosh.
world back. Yeah. So it's really been a blessing. It's been wonderful healing on a lot of levels, just a personal journey, but it's also been a wonderful healing seeing people recognize music that they love, fall in love with it again, feel like I've given them back something that they have lost.
Yes.
It's been a wonderful journey.
Yeah, music is so important. It's so important. My husband lost his brother years ago when they were younger, and he just rediscovered like this lesser known Pearl Jam
Mhm.
album that his brother played when they were younger. And oh my goodness, it brought tears to his eyes. He was like, it was a huge deal for him. Like brought his brother back in a way for him and helped him. I mean, really, it brings you can relive memories, and it's
Mhm.
It's
so
frequency.
healing.
He's
Yes.
had he's had clients bring him old reel-to-reel tapes that he's converted digitally too, because otherwise, that equipment doesn't even exist anymore. So they couldn't even watch it anymore. So now they
Yeah.
can just have it stored on their computer or,
Hmm.
transfer it to a DVD so they can share it. And it's great.
Awesome.
We even had a guy from Alabama. He had a recording studio in the early 70s, and he handed me a box of his reel to reels. One of them, not all of them, I've been able to play because he used a more sophisticated equipment than I have, so they don't all play. But
Uh-huh.
one that did play seemed to be demos of like 71, 72 bands no one's ever heard of. I researched on the internet. No one's ever heard of these songs. It's definitely bringing to light of the day something which never saw the light of day.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh,
It's
how
really an
exciting.
time. Yeah, it's been really exciting. We even had a friend over. He was telling us he was singing this song, and it was a song. I forgot the song, but he was telling me how his mother always sang this song to him. And I was like, that sounds really familiar. And it just turns out that a month prior, I had recorded 78 vinyl from the 40s of that particular song. And I told him I had it in the collection. And I was like, would you like to hear it? He goes, I've never heard it before. I've only
Oh,
heard my mother sing it.
oh my
So he got to hear
gosh.
the he got to hear the song for the first time decades later after his mother passed on. Just singing this thing
Oh,
in life. He was over 70.
Yeah.
And he just,
oh,
it brought a whole new dimension to his world. And to be able to provide that, it goes so much beyond it brings a human aspect.
Hmm.
oh my gosh. Yeah, it's such a gift. It's a gift.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
for doing that. And then you guys are also doing historical libraries, which is amazing too. And we need more of that
Yes.
happening, bringing back these old books. Um,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yes.
Do you
Or
guys have,
even,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, oh, I was going to say just all kinds of books. There's so many of them that now they're, trying to burn or eradicate or just, they're no longer making copies of them, so they're not as available. So we're,
So
yeah,
I got a
adding to our
small
collection.
I have a small bookshelf here that's just a very, very small portion of our collection. I'm just going to pull out a few random books to give you an idea of just what kind of books we got.
Please do. Do you guys have any like medical books? Because I find that so interesting
Radical,
too.
yes, radical mycology.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what
This
that
is
is.
this is about fungi,
Mushrooms.
mushrooms,
Oh,
mycelium, repopulating, healing soil, using mushrooms to repair soils like oil spills. You can grow oyster mushrooms, and if you do it right, it'll actually absorb the oil spills in the earth and be able to transmute it
oh
and
my
be able
gosh.
and they're actually, I've been told that they're edible even after they
Nice.
do that. You clean the environment in the
Mhm.
process.
Oh
So
my
this book has a
goodness.
lot of information like that.
That's not an old one, but it's a great
It's
one.
not an old one.
I
Yeah.
didn't even, wow, that's amazing. I didn't know mushrooms could do that. And then you can eat them after?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
Oh yeah.
They say every mushroom is edible at least once.
Oh
Connecting
yeah.
to our
You die
ancestral path.
horribly. Connecting to our, oh, awesome,
Connecting to our
ancestral
ancestral
past.
path. We have a ton of Native American,
And there's truth in there, so
Mesoamerican.
Mhm.
stuff they
We do
weren't
have a
able
lot of,
to wipe away,
yeah.
it's in there. Oh
These are
wow.
folk tales of indigenous tribes.
We
Oh
have old stories as
awesome.
well. And for medical books, like you asked, yes, we have a lot about all kinds of different like healing modalities and things like that too that talk about medical. But we have all kinds of books about the body and how things function.
Oh my
Lots
goodness.
of energy healing. Oh yeah, that's a good
Now
one.
what is that?
Passive solar. So basically it's every on all things solar.
Oh,
We
okay.
teach you about solar technology, solar paneling, how to set it up, how to maintain it.
Oh,
Mhm.
awesome. Awesome.
We even we did well, I wasn't a part of Chewila Peak. We were just friends when she was doing that with Kuoni, but as we got together, COVID broke out and Chewila Peak they closed their doors. And Kelly gets a call one day,
Mhm.
and the manager there was telling us how they had a library there and they were told to get rid of it as soon as possible, burn it, dig it in a ditch, whatever you do, it's got to be gone before
Oh
they were
my
done
God.
with their work.
Yeah, it was such a huge library that it was hard to, they're like, what are we gonna do with all of these?
Yeah.
So they were like, the only option is really just to get rid of them. Yeah, they were gonna, yeah, and we're like, nope, no, that's not gonna happen. So we spent days with other people loading up vehicles and finding all the boxes that we could,
We
and
filled our
Oh,
entire garage for a
eh,
winter. You
yeah,
couldn't even take a step
oh
into
my
it. And then we
gosh.
walked downstairs into a storage room. We have a ledge that's probably about 2,500 books.
yeah, and
Yeah.
On
so that library was a big ecological focused library. So it's talking about all aspects, the earth and growing and soil and animals and solar and water quality, all of these different things. And it's but it's also training, because the Chewelah Peak Learning Center was kind of almost like a Boy Scout kind of thing. They did leadership skills and stuff like that. So that they had a lot of information. So we still have all of that. Unfortunately, it's not out on display. So that's another thing that we are intending and manifesting is a
Yeah.
place that we can actually put this library so that it can be put to good use.
communally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's a way you can like, well, I'm sure you guys have your own ideas. I know of one group I belong to, they're called the Unfuckers, but they have a library online where they've taken old books and somehow I haven't even gotten in there. I think they have like a something going on with the, I don't know. But you can access it on the internet. All these books they have downloaded, like old books. Yeah. But I'm sure
Yeah.
you have your own ideas, but thank you so much for going and rescuing those books.
Thank
Oh
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
They're
Thank
just
you.
magnetically keep coming to us.
Yeah, because
Just
they know they'll be
magnetically
safe with you.
drawn. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, we're a safe
Yes.
haven.
Oh,
I have a
thank
lot of
goodness.
sacred books, a lot of sacred teachings, a lot of esoteric teachings, just a lot
Yeah.
of books that I'm very glad we still have in the world.
Yeah, me
Mhm.
too. Keep it up, keep them safe, and get them out there. I know you will. You guys are like
Yeah,
Yeah.
magical people. You guys are like a power couple of making this world a better place. Thank you. So, so we
Help
already
it.
kind of got into it a little, but I just wanted to ask each of you, um, and Christian, maybe since it's your first time on, how did you get started on this path? Like, tell us a little bit about you and your journey.
I don't think I ever got started on this path. I think I've been on this path since I was born. I remember
Yeah.
you're 25. I grew up in a very liberal house. When I remember asking my mom what is God? She handed me Out on a Limb by Shirley MacLaine and told me to figure it out for myself.
Oh my goodness.
So I was reading Carlos Castaneda by 12,
Oh wow.
and playing with astral traveling by 14. I used to go to metaphysical books with my mom in my teens, and she
Oh,
bought me books that I was interested in and
oh wow.
those books. And then I got together, and I was married for a long time. And my ex, she was very much into spirituality and books as well. So when I did, when I switched over and we got together and we moved in together, we started building our own book collection. And she even she contacted one of the authors of a book who had a retreat here in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
and signed up for a student, and we went to her monastery for 15 years together off and on.
Oh my goodness. Yes, you've got a strong Buddhist background.
Hmm.
Yes.
But
Okay.
I don't like to be, I don't like to say I'm any one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be open-minded and allow other things to just gel together and create a bigger picture. I don't limit myself to dogma.
Got you. Me neither. Good for you. I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. And then, Kelly, how did you get on this journey? I don't think we got too much into it when you were on last time, but if you could just give us a little
Yeah,
background
well,
and
I suppose it's just been a lifelong journey for me too. Since I was a child, I was pretty sensitive to other realms, sensitive to, what I perceived as when you're young, you think of ghosts, that's your knowledge of anything. So, so it was also a little frightening to me or something that I didn't understand. And years later, I guess I kind of turned it off. I decided, nah, I don't really want to deal with this. So, my teens, early 20s, I lived, I guess, what you would call a more normal life,
yeah.
and then spirit really started coming back really strongly, in the form of mostly departed spirits. But then I had enough knowledge to know that these are spirits and not ghosts that are haunting and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I started to look into that and understand why I was experiencing that more. I also really started researching and studying Native American cultures and teachings and their way of life. I really resonated with it, and still do, of course. But I just knew that was more in alignment with the path that I wanted to take. And so, yeah, so I started really studying that and researching it. Spending time with elders and receiving teachings and things like that. And so that was kind of the catalyst, especially that set me on the path of where I'm at now. I knew that, that's where I wanted to be in life, was, to be living in those kind of holistic ways with the knowledge that we're all one and that everything is connected.
I agree. That's awesome. And I is kind of on a similar path. Like I always experienced supernatural things growing up, and I was always drawn to Native American culture as well. It always resonated. I feel like they've got a lot of things right, in my opinion. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, yeah. So just chugging along here. So I feel like the next natural question would be, how did you two meet? What's your story together now that we talked about each of you?
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
story. So we actually met in 2018 at an astrology class. We were taking a class from a mutual friend. His name was Steve Stargazer, and we've also he's since passed, and we've inherited his library, which is kind of what motivated us to really start the whole library that we have now too. So yeah, we met there in 2018. He was with a partner and I was with a partner at the time. So, it was just friends, nothing, from the beginning, but we got to know each other better, especially learning about each other's astrological charts, because in that class, Stargazer would bring up all of these different things. And it's funny, I had a personal reading with him one day after the class. He did a natal chart on me, and we spent probably at least 4 hours talking. And yeah, but he kept hinting to me Steve is really great too. He gets like right in your face, you know. And so, but he kept hinting at me. He's like, maybe there's somebody in this class that has a significant and just maybe like you know, and it sounds like Steve, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, so you know, and I didn't get it at the time. At that time I was actually in the process of publishing the third book of the Sasquatch Message to Humanity, which is one that I authored part of it as well, you know. So
Right. Yeah.
that's where my mind was at. Like I was like thinking career and, you know, publishing and Sasquatch and all of this different stuff. And I had no idea what he was hinting at. And
So funny.
so yeah, so that's how we met. And then it wasn't until like the end of 2019, you know, when both of our relationships had ended, that we started to come more together and realize that yeah, that we were very compatible. And yeah.
Yeah, but there was a little more to it than that. When first time I invited her over here for lunch, she had some computer issues and I was going to work on her computer, and I made a lunch. She walks through the door, and at the time I had the Lady of the Lake on our living room wall
It's a
frame,
painting.
Uh-huh.
and it blew Kelly away that I had this painting.
Yeah, because I was drawn to this picture. I discovered it when I was probably about 15 years old or something. I saw it in the mall and I
Uh-huh.
just loved it. It's this beautiful woman in a boat. She's very sad looking
Mm-hmm.
though, but it's just a beautiful painting, and I was
Mm-hmm.
really drawn to it. And even as a teenager, I went and bought a big print of it, and I had it in my bedroom, and I carried that with me for years, you know, through different states and different homes and things like that.
Yeah.
So it was really significant to me. And then to come here to his house and it's hanging on his wall. It's the only other time that I've seen it, like, or you
Mm-hmm.
know, somebody found it. And
Yeah.
so
And I,
that was pretty big for me.
Oh my
and I,
goodness.
And I just happened to, I mean, years prior to that, I went to a garage sale. I saw the Lady of a Lake puzzle, 1,000-piece puzzle for a quarter. And I looked at it and I said, so if I put that together, I could have a museum piece in my house for a quarter. So why not? So I picked that up, put it together in a week, and then just waited for a really nice golden frame to come by. One came by within weeks.
Oh my
We
gosh.
just, I took it in, took out the thing, put it in there, put it on my wall, and said, I got a museum piece in my house. And
That's
it just
brilliant.
happened to be something that that Kelly really connected with, but didn't
Yeah.
stop there. So then we go downstairs where I, you know, have kind of, even back then it was a little bit of a library and kind of a art gallery and setup. And right behind where I sit is this huge Brian Froud picture of fairies that I had gotten at another garage sale, and then found a museum frame that was all cracked up and everything, and I restored it with gold paint
Oh my
and
gosh.
framed this in it. So it's like walking into a museum piece. Kelly had just made that her Facebook background, cover photo background. The
Yeah,
same
that
Oh,
same,
image.
you
right.
guys. That is
So when I saw that, I was
wild.
just like, what? And then I think I even said something like, did I just come home
Yes,
or
she
something like
said
that?
that.
And so we weren't even together at the time, right? Or not even thinking that way.
Yeah,
But
you're
you know,
just
now in
friends.
hindsight, it's kind of like, oh my God, I did come home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your friend Steve, if he could be there, would have been like, look at your face.
Right.
I told you. Oh my
And I
goodness.
was going through a long decline. I had a very long marriage and it was going through a slow decline. But
Yeah.
kept trying for years to kind of work it out.
Yeah.
And Steve was very much of a mentor and a friend during that time. And we'd sit down for like 4 to 6 hours and just talk. He was very
Yeah.
easy, very, very special soul. And he kept telling me, you know, if you just let go, you never know what's around the corner.
Hmm.
It said to get in my face. You never know what's around the corner. The perfect person just might be waiting for you right around the corner.
Be like 2 seats away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love it. I love that story. And I think it's even more, I mean, just like amazing that you picked these up at two different garage sales, two
Mhm.
separate people's houses. So it's not even like it's a store you love that you like went to all the time. So it's just like the odds
No,
of that are even more magical. It makes it even more magical.
right.
Yeah,
And we love garage sales
we do.
still to this day, by the way. We go to all of them that we can find. So,
Sure, I got a lot of
Yes.
my music, actually, entire
yeah.
collections and books. And I
Yeah.
went to an estate sale and they just had stuff thrown all over the lawn. And I mean, piles of stuff. And I
Yeah.
just walked to one little table and I see a couple of books and I see this old book sitting under and I pull it in and it's a Rosicrucian book on Lemuria. I mean, these
Take
are the
that
kind
thing.
of things
It's
these
mine.
are the
Don't
kinds
take
of
it.
things that just magnetize to us. I mean, I wasn't even
Yes.
looking for it. I just put my hand in a pile of books, pulled it out, and here was this book, and they wanted nothing for it. And we get stuff like that all the
Mhm.
time.
Because you're meant to. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I love it. I love stories like this. I love it. Um, that's so cool. Thank you for sharing your story of how you met.
Yes,
I
thank
love
you.
it. That's so cool.
I
Um,
should mention too that right after we got together, we didn't tell everyone at first. We had both, I'd just gotten out of my relationship and
yeah.
was just, trying to regain, but also, she was also on her decline and everything with her relationship. And we just felt, it wasn't time to let everybody know yet. And
Yeah.
Steve comes over and he can see it in us.
Hmm.
Just around the time we were about to release the information, unfortunately, he passed on.
Oh my
So we
goodness.
never actually got to tell him we were together, but he got to see us together.
Hmm.
And we know and
Oh, he knows.
he's
He
with us
knew.
He's
today.
here
He's
all the
all the
time.
time. Yes, he's been with us ever since, and we
Hmm.
very much feel his presence. I have his
Yeah.
entire book collection downstairs, over
Hmm.
Oh
500
yeah.
astrology, other books too. It's a big part of his life is in this house, but
Yeah.
also in our hearts.
Yes. Yeah, he'll always be with you guys. I'm sure he's smiling down on you. Do you
Yes,
and
he
you
still
feel
has.
him? You feel him around, I'm
I
sure.
can
Oh,
see it. I can
absolutely.
see his big grin right now. Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
I would even hear right after he passed on for the first month or two, I would hear it was really interesting because I kept hearing what sounded like trying to talk to me through some kind of recorder or something. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, and I hear these little words, and
Yeah.
I couldn't quite make it out, but I felt his presence. And then we were playing some things, on YouTube, and we were playing this one thing where it was showing the outer atmosphere of
Yeah.
each planet and the sounds that it makes. And the
Yeah.
sounds that I heard on Earth was exactly the sounds I heard communicating to me.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
mhm.
Oh my gosh.
So
Wow, that's
definitely
no
feel his.
coincidence. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And oh, by the way, I can't believe I hadn't discovered these books before. I'm going to mention The Sasquatch Message to Humanity. You're a part of that book series, written by Sunbow, channeled from Camus. And I just read the first few, I think I read like the first chapter of it. I can't believe I just discovered these books. I was like, yes. I mean, I have never heard someone thank you for the nail on the head of like what is happening in this realm.
They're
Oh my,
amazing. The
yeah,
information in them is just really amazing. Yeah.
yeah,
It was life
yeah.
changing for me.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to read them, and I'm going to read all of them, and then I'm going to try and see if if somebody will come back on and talk about his books again. Yeah, because
Sure.
I haven't even read them yet. I'm really excited. It's awesome stuff, and I'm so grateful that you were a part of that too. That's awesome.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. And enjoy. And, the more I read it too, I get more every time that I read them. I get more and more out of it, or, a deeper understanding of things every time that I read it.
yeah, I can only
Actually,
imagine.
Yeah.
I actually have book three on my counter. I've read it in the past, but I picked it up and I read it from different parts. I didn't read it all the way through like I read first books one, book two.
Yeah,
So I've been reading a lot of Sasquatch books lately,
yeah,
on people's experiences and kind of comparing them to my own and just get to know our community and the books that they wrote and their personal stories. And it
yeah.
brings us all closer.
Mhm.
And I realized as I'm reading all these books, I wanted to read book three again, and I wanted to read it from cover to cover. So it's on my book. It's the next book that I'm going to be picking up
Oh,
and going
awesome.
through again.
Well, I'm sure there's a reason, and you're gonna find out.
Mhm.
Why? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So with the oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the name. Oh, the Children of the Earth Coalition, like what compelled you to found that? What kind of got you guys started with that?
I got a really big nudge for it. I guess it was in 2018. It was all these ideas that were coming together, and I realized that I just needed a name to put it under, and then I figured that, well, from there, whatever growth, it can go under that name. So COEC, the Children of Earth Coalition, is kind of the umbrella name for everything else that we're involved in. But it came really divinely to me, the name. And it's also the abbreviation for it, COEC, like co-economics, or however you want to, or co-ecological, however you want to, look at it. It felt like a
Yeah.
good flow. So, um, but it's really very earth focused, and we are all children of the earth. We're all children of the sun. So, Children of the Earth Coalition just kind of naturally and divinely came to me. It wasn't really a thought. It was just that's it.
Hmm. It's happening.
And so, yeah, exactly. So I came up with the name before we were together, but it didn't really start forming so much until we were together, and then we started getting involved in all kinds of different things. And one of those that you mentioned too is the Intenders of the Highest Good Circle. We didn't start that. That was founded, or I guess you would say founded, by a man named Tony Burrows. I think it's probably been about 25 years now that he started that movement, which is just a process of having an intender circle. And so where people get together and share what they're grateful for, what they want to have manifest, and then everybody, basically aligns with that and sees that vision together happening, and things manifest so quickly, like you wouldn't believe. Oh, especially when
Yeah.
you get together and state them out loud, and have other people supporting that. And so, yeah, it was in the beginning of 2020
Mhm.
that we had like our first gathering, and we're still doing it now. Last night we had our first one in a very long time, in several years, outside of our home, other than like a circle that we might have at the much family union or something. Um, but it had gone kind of more underground with COVID,
Oh yeah.
instead of having public meetups. So now, last night, for the first time, there's a new place here in town called the Meditation House. These wonderful people in town that purchased it, and they have it's an Ananda organization, and so it's just a wonderful place. So now we're doing that every 2 weeks there, and we get to
Okay.
watch the community come and see that circle grow. So that's kind of how it started, and then we just keep adding more to it. So
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Do you remember what your first event was after you founded it? Sorry, I don't mean to put you on
the
the spot.
for the
Like,
Children of Earth Coalition.
yeah, what was the first event you guys did? Do you remember? I'm just curious, but no pressure.
um
Was it like a seed exchange or a permaculture or
no, no, that's more with the Permaculture Guild that we're a
okay.
part of.
Okay.
Yeah, I would probably say the first event I did actually was autism focused.
Okay.
Yeah, I put together a group, and there was some different parents in the community that had children on the spectrum, and so it
Mm-hmm.
was a get together for more information, and just so that parents could come together and talk. We
Yes.
played movies for the kids, and things like that. Was actually
Awesome.
the first one I did under that name. Yeah.
Awesome. Creating friendships. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then she brought Colette to me when we got together, and I
Yeah.
I operate as co-creator, and I look at my life's work as co-creation. So when I heard
Yeah.
co-act, it's like co-act co-creates.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, it just kind of slipped right in. It was just a
Mm-hmm.
natural fit. And we talk about, how we want to build it up. And right now we're working a lot with permaculture because for me, it's all tied together. If
Yeah.
you want to heal the planet, you do that by healing the soil,
Mm-hmm.
healing the
Yes.
water, healing the air. Um, as we're getting into permaculture and working with the earth, we have a lot of talks about Sasquatch. We have a lot of communion with Sasquatch, and
Mm-hmm.
Sasquatch all about nature.
Mm-hmm.
This winter we've been doing. I've been going out. We've been going out together. We try to go out to nature at least once a day. Even if it's just 10, 15 minutes, be in the woods. And I'm learning to adopt a way of being where if I walk into nature, I will greet each tree individually and give it a hug and tell them that I love them. And instead of just looking at it as a forest of trees, I'm looking at it as this tree's got this tree is a being, this tree is a person, this tree is a person, and treating them as beings. And
Yes.
starting to have a personal relationship, not just with the environment, but with each member of the environment as
Mm-hmm.
we walk through it. And it really does bring you closer to feeling as the Sasquatch feel. It's communion with Sasquatch because you're living more like them. You're
Yes.
adopting
Yeah,
ways.
exactly. And
Yes.
when I heard about the concept of permaculture, it's just that word. Like I understood the concept of it, but then I heard the word permaculture and saw
Mm-hmm.
that there was this whole movement and that there's, groups and all of these different things. And I was just like, that is in perfect alignment with everything that the Sasquatch stands for. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what it's all about. I mean, not exclusively. I mean, there's a lot of energy teachings and things like that from them, interdimensional, multidimensional teachings as well. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as on the earth, it's really appreciating and loving your mother, loving all people, loving all living things,
Mm-hmm.
and learning how to be sustainable, regeneration of all these natural resources on the planet, all
Yeah.
of that. And I was like, that's just exactly everything that the Sasquatch are always teaching. So,
Yes. Yes.
Readopting the ancient ways.
mm-hmm.
What did you say?
Readopt, readopting the ancient ways. There's really
Yes.
nothing new about permaculture. It's been going on for tens of thousands of years.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
just that we've gotten so far away from our natural ways. It seems new and fresh and exciting, but really what you're
Yeah.
doing is just we're getting back to our roots.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And finding that those roots have a neural network attached to them.
Yep. So for people that might not know, what is permaculture? Like if people are listening and they're like, what is permaculture?
What is the definition of
There is a saying,
permaculture?
there's a three-part saying. I personally never use it, but I do absolutely respect it.
Yeah.
My personal views on permaculture,
Mm-hmm.
what we're actually doing is we're recycling nature
Mm-hmm.
back into nature to optimize nature's potential,
Mm-hmm.
and in the process heal the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of
Awesome.
people talk about permaculture and they look at their gardens and they look at, growing natural food. And that's wonderful. We got to take it way beyond that. We need to
Mhm.
take it into the forest and start taking a look at all the debris and then mulching it down. And then, okay, what trees need, what nutrients to be placed around it, and what areas or soil erosion. Where can we put all this mulch that we just put in and create water gathering so it's not shedding the water all the time and can able to regenerate. So I'm looking to take it beyond just the gardens and really apply it to every square inch of the planet where we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I
And
feel
and
like,
the Oh, sorry. Well, I
no, go
was I was
ahead.
just going to say that the principles of permaculture is earth care, people care, fair share. And so those are the
Okay.
main principles that you're going on. I just grabbed a piece of paper that I had sitting here about permaculture practices. So this isn't like exclusive, but it's something that, kind of goes along with it. So it's respond with creativity, catching and storing energy. So, conservation, rainwater harvesting, composting, using renewable sources, water management, and like I said, conservation, chop and drop organic mulch, and regulating agriculture. So those are just like a few little highlights that I have here in front of me, but
Awesome.
there's so much more to it. It's also just like recycling,
Yes.
Hmm.
or minimal waste and things like that. And
Yeah.
instead of throwing away your paper, burn it. So those kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm doing, just to give an example of taking
Yeah.
it beyond what, we talked about gardens and nature and the ground and, the soil. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I'm putting together right now, is I'm looking to put together a free class at local public libraries and in this town and a neighboring town,
Hmm.
where I'm going to be giving a lecture on how to manage and take control of your energy bill and energy usage. Basically, for people who are on grid and their
Hmm.
prices for electric are going through the roof right now, which we're hearing is happening all over the country.
Hmm.
I can show people how to manage their meters, um, learn to call in your rates instead of just being estimated,
Hmm.
knowing what days to call and when they're running
Yeah.
their billing, understanding tiered price planning and how your usage goes up in tiers and your prices go up as you use the tiers. Um,
Yeah.
how many things you use at once, lighting, what kind of bulbs are you using, and are you using most efficient bulbs for the jobs that are available. I've probably personally shaved over $100 a month of what I used to pay just
Wow.
by doing these practices. And I'm thinking a lot of other people can benefit from this too. And this is information that should be shared. I mean, right now I'm preparing for the class, and what I'm doing is every morning at 9 o'clock, I'm going to my meters and I'm writing down the numbers. And what I'm doing is I got a chart where I can show my energy and gas usage each day, and then I can make notations of when things are spiking. It gives me an
Yeah.
idea of what my average energy use is,
Hmm.
and it also shows me ways where I can go and cut corners in our energy usage and bring it down and get get bills manageable again. Because I mean, I'm hearing people spend 500, 600, 1,200 a month on an electric bill. It's
It
ridiculous.
is ridiculous. And I feel like it's by design. I mean, I know Kelly and I have kind of talked about this through email, but I feel like it's by design. So you guys are basically, you are empowering people. I mean, that's empowering. So thank you for doing that. Because I'm sure a lot of people, they're just like, well, I guess I'll just have to deal with it. That's just the way it is. No. Uh-uh.
No, that's where we have to realize that our greatest power right now in the world is our hearts.
Hmm.
So that's our greatest power. But as
Hmm.
far as claiming our power within society, we do that better by reclaiming our wealth, personal wealth,
Yeah.
and stop giving it away to conglomerates and corporations and feeding a system we don't want to see exist anymore. We want to see it
Amen.
change and become more holistic. I
Yeah.
would personally like to see all the smart meters gone. I want to go back to the magnetic analog meters that if
Yeah.
you're going to be using the meter, because anything digital can be digitally programmed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And that's another thing. Your books, having physical books is so important. They can go in and change them if they're on a computer,
And
Exactly.
we're
you know?
seeing that happen. We have a podium downstairs where we have a 1905 unabridged Webster's dictionary, and we pull up open pages and we read the meanings of words and we look them up online and they're totally different.
Yeah.
It's
Totally
so
different.
creepy,
Or if
isn't
they are
it?
the same, they've left out about three-quarters of what we got in this book and the
Hmm.
meaning and associations to other things that they don't tell you online anymore. It's really been dumbed down. You get to see how much it's been dumbed down
Oh,
when you
yeah.
have this.
Hmm.
Yes. And the scary thing is there are a lot of people that don't have access to that. I watched Idiocracy the other night for the first time and it was, oh my goodness. It was like, oh dear, we're heading in that
Yeah.
direction. Yeah, we're not though. I'm just kidding. But obviously, yeah, a lot's being
I
lost. So, Yeah, go ahead.
One thing that I recently realized too is I'm reading a book right now. I read a lot of esoteric stuff, but right now I'm actually taking a rest from that, and I'm reading two books. One is Build a Better World in Your Backyard by Paul Wheaton, and that's a permaculture book where it doesn't talk about so much what you can do for permaculture, but how you can scale back your life to stop feeding that which you don't want anymore. A lot of what we've already covered
Yes.
talking earlier today. So I've been reading a lot of, and it's funny because it's like a lot of the things that he talks about, I've either been thinking about incorporating or already have been incorporating for years. So it's been
Yeah.
wonderful to get a lot of that confirmation, but also a lot of insight in how I can improve it, what I've
Yes.
been doing. An other book that I've been reading is called Metabolical, The Lies of Processed Food, Big Pharma, and Corporate Industry. And
Uh-huh.
it's talking about cell growth, cell regeneration, how processed foods and natural foods tick off on and off switches and change the functions of cells and what creates autoimmune disease, what creates cancer, all of it, and really goes into it. And this girl that we know who's got diabetes, I was talking to her about this book, and I said maybe you want to just take a look at it. And she's a younger girl, newer generation. And I picked up this book and showed it to her. She couldn't read it. She couldn't read. She couldn't follow it.
Oh,
And I realized this is because they're not trained anymore to follow books on this level.
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
The
And I
average
think that's,
person, I mean,
yeah.
and this is something that I would like to see corrected
Yeah,
in
me
our
too.
society and bring back the books for the children. We also keep a lot of children's books, a lot of beautiful children's books. We don't have
Yes.
so much we don't have so many novels. We do have some historical novels, but really
Hmm.
it's more about knowledge. But
Yeah.
we have a lot of pretty big children's section
That's
because that's
great.
the gateway for them.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get them started too.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, all the knowledge that's amazing what you're doing. And you're learning and teaching people how to be cooperative stewards again. They're trying to make us into they've told us that being a competitive parasite is the way to go, right? The Darwinian thing, dog eat dog. And I don't think that's how it works at all. I
No,
think,
that's
I
not divide
think,
and conquer as far as
No,
I'm
right,
that's how they wanted it to be. I
right.
mean, yeah.
But we're meant to be cooperative stewards. And then I heard somewhere, and I said it in one of my other shows that, and I wonder if you guys agree with this, that the species that survives and thrives is the species that makes itself more indispensable to other species. Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes. I'm thinking about it.
Looking at that.
So like
I'm looking at
basically how much we help each other is then you'll thrive
yeah.
more if you help others, kind of, I guess. Is
Like
what
a domino effect.
yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yes.
Okay.
I like to apply the 100th monkey effect to that.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness, what is it? Where are we with time? Okay, so okay, we've got 15 minutes left. Let me see. Is there anything popping in your heads that you guys want to talk about? I mean, I'm definitely interested in maybe some lesser known histories or anything about your perspectives that you can share, like Native American. Kelly, you have a background and you have Native American perspective with Buddhism. Um, well, we already kind of talked about what drew you to those. Hang on. I've been like so taken aback, I mean, away by everything you're saying, and now I don't know what my questions are. Um, oh, so you guys have guides and beings that you communicate with?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice or messages from them lately or recently that you can share? Or anything you want to share about them?
I can give a couple. I'll let you
Go
first.
ahead.
I mean, I want to say, I feel a lot of guides that I connect with, but they don't feel like a being so much as kind of more like a window to the entire collective
Mhm.
that I'm just integrated as kin.
Yeah.
It's more
Yes.
like that than
Okay.
having one being come to me and say, "Hi, I'm so and so." I feel
Yeah.
more, it's more like I get images in my mind's eye and they're almost cartoon like, and I'll just see a Sasquatch and he'll just be like this, and while smiling at me. And and I can feel its feelings. And
Yeah.
I'm realizing this is how they communicate.
Mm-hmm.
This is how nature communicates through
Yes.
visual and through feeling. So a lot of
Yes.
my communication is like that. I've received a lot of messages from the Sasquatch, but two that I really love to share.
Yeah, please.
One, I was in my driveway one day and it was summertime, and I was thinking about how I really wanted to establish a greater connection to the Sasquatch.
Hmm.
And what came through my heart, it just kind of came at once. I just felt this feeling of, you wish us to be your greater brother and sisters. We would like you to be a greater brother to all your little brothers and sisters first.
Oh my goodness.
And I went,
Wow.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's
And
powerful.
been living that since. The
Yes.
other one's really simple, but it's really simple,
Goodness.
but there's a numerology and a real power behind it. Hugs heal hearts. Hugs heal hearts. Now, as we
Yep.
connect our hearts and hug heart to heart, we reconnect the heart to humanity and become one again, because we're all now heart connected again. But if you
Yes.
look at that statement, I keep getting the same as I look at that statement. Hugs heal hearts. H8888888 Lionsgate.
Yes. 888 Lionsgate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
hugs heal heart. Triple H.
Yes.
And that's the eighth
Yes.
character in the alphanumeric
Hmm.
alphabet.
Yeah.
888 Lionsgate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hugs heal heart.
And on and on. And it's so interesting that the blood that runs through our veins is pumped through the heart, and those are our ancestors too. So we know that we can heal our ancestors as well, that it's all connected. So I feel like every hug that you have is healing your ancestors as well as yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are our ancestors. So
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're quite a lot in ancestral healing. I do a lot of ancestral healing for years now. About 5, 6, actually more like 7 years ago now. I decided that I needed to learn to cry again. As a male, I didn't cry.
Oh my
Growing up
gosh,
in New
it's
York,
terrible
I
what they
didn't
do to you
cry.
boys.
I didn't cry.
Yeah.
I wouldn't cry. No, I don't care if I'm being beaten on. You ain't making me cry.
Yeah.
Get ahead.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
um, I started doing dry heaving motions of sobbing, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing would come out for a couple of weeks, and then one day it hit like floodgates,
Oh wow.
and I just realized, let me do this every morning and just start, because I realized I wasn't doing like a poor me. I was kind of more like, what actually got me to actually break that was making the statement within myself that it's been too much to bear all the mental all the mental conflict that I self-created, that I was just ready to let go and move through, and that
Yep.
let it out.
Yep.
And every time that I would let the tears come out, I always looked for a way to move through it, to claim responsibility without guilt or shame or anything, and just
Yeah.
get my practices. That's all there is to it. And I
Yep.
was doing this. My ex thought I went absolutely insane. Went
I'm
absolutely. You
sure.
just sit there and cry all day. You sob, you let your snot run down your face, all this stuff. Because I realized, if I'm going to do it,
Yeah.
embrace it. And one day I really did, and I was shaking. Snot was running on my face. I couldn't see out of my tears. And all of a sudden, I just started seeing face after face after face after face after face after face after face superimposed, doing the exact same thing that I was doing.
Oh my
And
goodness.
this felt probably only lasted a few minutes, if that, but it felt like an eternity I was doing it. And I
Yeah.
stopped. And it was really funny because I just had to pick up my son from high school and a little bit from that moment. And I'm dazed,
Mm.
and I know my name, I know where I live, and I know my family, and I know who I am, but I did not know how I was going to react to anything anymore. I did not know how I was going to feel about things anymore. I felt like I had let go of so much. I felt like I healed my lineage.
Oh yeah, you did. Sounds like.
My lineage. And I
Yeah.
just felt completely different after
Yeah.
that.
Do you think those faces were your ancestors, or were they you in your past lives, or what do you think, or just people doing it at the
Both,
same time? Okay.
both,
Yeah. Yeah.
and more. I think there's past life. I think there is lineage,
Yeah.
um, our memory, and
Yes.
a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
not to just one thing, but many things combined. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what also that brought me to, and I'm going to be having to talk about this spring, was that when you start to work with your heart, you start to really become aware of your heart more.
Mm-hmm.
And there
Yeah.
comes a point where you're ready to really let that go. And when you do, it's very surprising because, you know, like I went through this movement. It wasn't that long ago that I went through this. And I went through this movement where, again, I really just let it out. It was like I saw these big hands come down, and I took everything that I was feeling inside, I just handed to these hands, and I said, please transmute this.
My
And
goodness.
it just dissolved. And I remember the feeling when I was done with that. It felt like I stepped out of a prison.
You
I felt
did.
this. I realized what it's that, and what led to this too was that I went on a journey to heal my parents, my relationship with my parents, and both of my
Yeah.
parents passed on. So I'm like, okay, I got to heal this from beyond the grave now with them.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and one of the things with my mom that I realized was that my mom passed away 20 years ago, suddenly,
Oh, I'm
of a
sorry.
stroke. And a lot of things were left unresolved. And
Yeah.
I had a thing where I was talking, I really want to connect with my mom. And I was telling Kelly, and all of a sudden we were listening to a radio, and all of a sudden the song stops and a new song comes on, and it starts singing Sea of Love. And all I'm hearing
Oh,
is, I just want to tell you how much I love you. And I just started, I'm driving, I'm
yes.
in
Oh no.
California, I'm on this wavy road at night. There's no lights except when I stop my lights.
Oh
I
my
can't pull
goodness.
over anywhere. I can't stop because I'm in the middle of the road. And I just have to keep driving through this. But I realized at that point that my mom was by my side all these years and I couldn't feel her. I couldn't feel her. I could not feel her. Why? I had this heart wall. So when I finally blasted through that, I realized that's what helped me blast through it. Because if I realized I couldn't feel her, what else can I feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the first thing when I stepped out of that wall, what I realized, the first person that I felt that I couldn't feel all these years was me.
Really?
I
Okay. Wow.
know me. All I
Yes.
knew was the mirror of the heart wall and the pain of separation.
Okay.
And I could
Yeah. Yeah.
identify that as me.
Yes.
But now I let
Mhm.
that go. And that's just an illusion. And I stepped out of the illusion. What do I see? Everybody else is living the same thing I'm living. And
Yep.
now I can see clearly. And what happens when you do that? The first thing is you're the only one who's done this. You're the only one who knows this. Everybody else is still operating the same way. And because we feed each other, guess what? These bricks started forming around my feet again. The wall started forming just from people's thoughts
Oh,
about
Jesus.
me,
Oh
not
no.
even me. And I had to
Mm-hmm.
constantly these bricks, in my mind's eye, kick them out and refuse to allow the wall to come in and
Yeah.
just be love. And I realized that, when I stopped feeding these walls and I stopped feeding other people's walls, now I'm still their mirror. But instead of being the mirror of their heart wall, now I'm a mirror of what their life looks like without a heart wall. And the love you see
Yeah.
from me is the love you carry inside.
I love
You're seeing
that.
yourself.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It sounds to me like you came up with your own healing modality.
I
Is
kind
this
of
just
have.
something you,
I'm going to be writing a book about it. I'm
I
also
was,
going to be doing a Tree of Life design. And this is directly in relation to a meeting 3 nights with Sasquatch 6 years
okay.
ago,
Oh, okay.
where you look at the chakras, and we actually
Mm-hmm.
have 13 main that we work with. Our
Mm-hmm.
main seven, one a foot above our heads, a foot below our feet, our two palms, our two soles of our feet. That makes
Uh-huh.
13. That's also the geometrical shape for a Merkaba.
Yep,
So I
yep,
realized to have a functional
yeah.
Merkaba that works at optimal,
Hmm.
you need alignment, you need harmony, harmonized chakras. As a
Yes.
Buddhist, you'll learn to work out of your third eye. You'll learn to work out of your crown chakra and to be
Right.
aware of these chakras. But this is where you want to be. And I went, no, you want to be all of it in tandem, simultaneously working as a geometrical unit instead of just a facet here or here to integrate them
Yes.
all. In order to do that, you need to be in alignment and harmonize. So I started doing a I started putting a riddle to each chakra. I started at the root chakra. And what I asked myself was, how can I feel secure when I've got nothing to secure to hold on to? And the answer that came to me was developing my integrity because I've done so much with Buddhism and spirituality. And there was a point where I realized I've given so much of my life, I've gone too far to just let it go. So as my marriage was falling apart and things were happening in my life and, a lot of opportunities came my way, I just kept putting my integrity as my main walking force, my driving force to walk my life, my path.
Hmm.
And I realized that is my strength. That is my strength to keep myself clear, to keep myself more moral, to keep my in high conscious. So even when I got nothing, I got my integrity, and I can carry. That's all I really need to carry myself through life. So now when you receive that virtue, you take it
Yes.
into your second chakra, which some people call the sexual chakra, other people call the creative chakra. I call it the passion chakra because you need passion to do either.
Yes.
And I see
Yes.
passion as a shadow element, actually, derived from desire, but not in an unhealthy light. I look at it as a trifold of the manifestation. You have the light, which is the spark of intuition, the idea, the knowing that arises within you.
Hmm.
But to know it isn't enough to do it. You have to have drive, propulsion, passion for what
Yes.
you just thought. So that's the
Yes.
shadow element coming. So now
Right.
you have light and dark, and they're not enemies, they're intertwined lovers. And then you have the physical body, which carries out the physical act of the idea with the
Hmm.
passion behind it.
Yeah.
That's the tribe of the manifestation.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I hope you're writing a book. You better be.
Handbook. I'm playing with the idea of handbook for a healthier humanity, Triple H.
Yes, I love it. It sounds like it's already happened. You just have to
It's
manifest it.
it exists. It's just exists in another dimension. I just have to pull it into this
You
frequency.
do. You got to pull it out and make it material.
It's happening. It's
It's
happening. I'm
happening.
letting it happen organically.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah, it's
exciting.
happening.
That is
Thank
so
you.
exciting. I'm so happy for you, Christian, and I'm happy for humanity that they're gonna have your booklets in their hands someday and you're gonna heal people.
So yeah, so you take that into, you take your integrity into your passion, and then that brings morality, that brings, honor, that brings integrity into your
Yes.
passion. And you
Yes.
develop a new sense of morality. So now you have two virtues. You got integrity and you got morality. And now you bring it to your power, your third chakra.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, the greatest power I've found is embracing open vulnerability as power.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you're fearless.
Exactly. So now you have, and when you work through that chakra, now you went through first three chakras. Most of humanity works within the first three chakras. You've just gone through them. You've gained integrity, you've gained morality, you've gained vulnerability. But they're powers.
Yes.
They're not something that we're taught to be ashamed of or that doesn't exist in our society anymore. No, now you're claiming it. Now you're owning it. And now because you're experiencing it and sharing that with the world, you give trust for others to be this way too, because they're
Yeah.
seeing it in you and they're seeing it work in you. And it gives them the trust that they can do it too.
Yeah.
And that is a personal decision that every person makes. It's the law of their free will.
Hmm.
But as we do this and be this and shine this in society, we're opening these doorways for others that may not have been even existing. had they not come in contact with us. What we do means so much that we don't
Yes.
even see.
Oh, yeah. It's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
If only, I think someday we'll get to see how we affected when we cross over to the next place. And you get to see just how many ripples you created and then those ripples and those ripples. I mean, my goodness, even just, I mean, I'm just so grateful to have met you guys, connected with you guys, have you here. I mean, I took a leap of faith. I listened to an astrologer and started talking about my experiences. I went on the Pork and Bean show. And from that, I met you guys and I met, a bunch of other wonderful, amazing people. And I just feel the ripple happening and I'm just so grateful, you know?
Yes.
And thank
Yeah.
you
Me
for giving this
too.
platform
Yes.
and that we can share our views with the world. What you're
Yeah.
doing is important. Bless
Yeah.
your heart.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. And thank you for being here. And thank you for all you're doing. I
Thank
love you
you.
guys. Thank you.
Thank
Um,
Very
you.
much.
Well,
Thank you.
and I hope I get to see you in person someday.
we would love that.
Yeah.
We will.
We
I've got to
will.
get out there. She knows.
It's
Well, you guys
just
are like
a
psychic, so
matter,
you know.
it's just a matter of time.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
It's
just a matter
only a
of time.
matter of time before we're in Pennsylvania too. So
Yes. Yes. We've got to figure something out.
I'm from New York. I grew
yeah.
up in Queens.
She was
My
telling me that.
family is in Pennsylvania. I got parents, I got
Yeah, she's right in
family.
the middle of your two
You're
aunts.
really
Yeah.
I got an aunt and a cousin in
Stroudsburg.
one's in Stroudsburg. The other one
Well, I didn't
is
stop recording yet. Do you want to be telling this? Should we wait till after we close out to talk about this?
yeah, that's fine. But my
Okay.
point is I got family in Pennsylvania and family in Long Island.
Oh my gosh, I've been there. No, I had a good experience there too. I want to tell you about it. Hang on, let's talk after we close out. But
Okay.
please tell people where they can find you guys. I know Kelly was already
All
on, but just in case no one watched that show or whatever.
We're both on Facebook. He's Christian Schena, Schena, and Kelly Rainbow Butterfly. And we have all these pages and groups. The website that has a lot of the the Children of Earth Coalition information is www.sasquatchfamilyreunion.com. So that's where
Okay.
you can see kind of what we're up to and what we're doing.
One thing I would like to interject, just sitting here, I want to share one of Kelly's pieces. She might have shown it on another.
Oh, I didn't this one. This is the
She just made this.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
an ocean
ocean one.
organite
Gosh, I love it.
EMF diffuser.
Nice. Yes, I have one of those under my TV, but I got it years ago. Oh, you've got the
Right.
dolphins there
Yeah.
too.
Dolphin and a
Yes.
whale. Yeah. So
Oh,
I've made a few
awesome.
ocean ones before and well, they sold. So I decided to make another
Make another one.
one.
I want to go
Yeah.
swimming in that.
No.
And they're wonderful. We had an EMF detector and we went through all our faceplates for our electrical outlets and light switches, and we
Hmm.
found that they all do for readings. So Kelly made a bunch of organite faceplates for all our stuff
Nice.
and put it all in there. They all went zero.
Mhm.
And the place just feels, I mean, I'm a computer tech. I got two, three, sometimes four jobs downstairs going on that I'm fixing at the same time. You
Yeah.
walk down, the hairs in the back of your neck would just stick up. And we were like, we got to do something about this.
Yeah.
Started putting organite all over the place. We don't have that problem.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Yeah, you need to protect yourself. And that stuff is
Yeah,
dangerous. It's detrimental to our health, our pets' health. People don't
absolutely.
realize. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we could do a whole nother show on that. Maybe we
We
should.
could.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Please keep up the good work. We appreciate you and thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
And
you.
All
bless.
right.
Bless.
Bless you too. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye-bye.